You are going to come back to South Africa because you ended up staying in South Africa for 22 years.
Yes, I did.
Which is quite a period. But let us go back to the beginning. You know,
Okay.
I started by saying that you began professionally under the umbrella of
Yes.
Evangelist Ebenezer Obey.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Okay. So in 1991, I became friends with his then music director, Nee Adams. They used to have a fellowship at the time. It wasn't a church. So, and then they hired musicians, and Nee Adams was like the music director of the. So, you know, every Sunday we'll go for fellowships. I used to look at. So I had already started learning from a Rasta.
You're Rastafarian.
Rastafarian. Rasta Evans was the one that showed me the guitar. But Rasta only knew chords, and so it was limited. So I learned what he knew. But I saw Nee Adams play guitar. I saw him play saxophone. I saw him play bass. I'm like, I've got to learn this thing. How did they do this thing? So I then started going to the fellowship, the cross at the time. And then from there, I met Tolu Obey, Obey's son. And Tolu was already a soloist. He could play stuff. I couldn't play that. So I now went to him and said, Tolu, show me a few things. And then Tolu was busy, wasn't really around. But Nee Adams was one that now showed me what a major seventh chord was and music proper. Nee Adams was one that really showed me under Ebenezer Obey. And then because of my love and passion for it, I learned very fast. And Papa saw me. And what is this one? He's our fellowship member. Let him join the band now. That's how I now joined Chief Ebenezer Obey's band at the time. And it was me and Tolu that played Jesu Olore. I played the guitar on that one. All the tenor lines and all that. I mean, we had series of rehearsals. I mean, in those days, D.L. Joe was the producer. If you know D.L. Joe, he lives in London now. D.L. Joe also at the time, he did a lot of Kwamwan's records. He did a lot of artists. I mean, story.
These are stories that you ever.
I didn't even think I would remember them, you know. So D.L. Joe was also one person who encouraged me. I mean, he would show me the lights and would tell me, okay. So at that time, because I was now beginning to meet a lot of nice people who would come to the church, you know, Baba Yewa and all these guys, I really fired up and I really was learning. By 96, from 91 to 96, I became one of the major guitarists in Lagos. I used to play with Gloria Ibru. Gloria had a band, G Notes. I played with Gloria, I played with Daniel Wilson, I played with Daddy Showkey, because we had a band. So our band would then back them up. So I was then almost everywhere. You know, between 91 and 96, I was almost everywhere. And then, of course, church, because I've always been a church guy. Then I went back to church. City of David was one of the churches that really, at that time, musicians were not really getting money. But House on the Rock had started. Which other church? It was more House on the Rock. And then City of David, which were on Uzumba in VI. And House on the Rock was on Muson Center. So because everybody was looking for good musicians, but they were not paying. So the time they now saw House on the Rock paying, it was, you need to keep these guys on because music needs to be good in church. So I was one of the first, maybe second set of musicians that worked with City of David, where, you know, when it comes to Redeem Model Parish, one of the tops, you know. So I worked with Nathaniel Bassi, was on trumpet at the time. I worked with Tony Zino, who was there, Mike Ebere, Onome. Ovie is in America now. He plays keyboard. He's an artist now. He's a pastor, evangelist, as it were. So all these guys were all just there. So between 96, I did that till about 99 when I met Kyle Olajide. So Kyle Olajide now told me that if you want to play African music, you see all these George Benson things you're doing, it's fantastic. It's good. But you need to now understand African music. Now, Baba Obi had already told me, but because I had just started, I played tenor with them for a bit, but it was too simple because it was just from beginning to the end. But I wanted to play, you know what I mean? So I then did that between 96 and 99 because I left Papa 96. But I was still going here and there, but I mean, I was almost everywhere. So between 96 and 99, I started playing George Benson a lot. And who was our radio presenter at Ray Power at the time? Bisade.
Stars and Jazz.
Yes. So I got a lot of songs from there because, I mean, of course, we had cassette players. So I used to record them and I would, you know, check them out and So I could play a lot of jazz songs. So my working with Gloria Ibru and the band really then opened me up to meeting a lot of other guys. So at that time, it was only Agbola Shadari that could really play at the level that I wanted. So I went again to Agbola to say, Omo, show me this thing. How do you do this? So it really sped up my my playing. 99, Cardinal called me, come and play with the band. So I was playing, when it says solo, I would just play, he would call me after and say, our music is not like that. We don't speak like that. We are a pentatonic people. So, that is African solo, pentatonic. It was a work. It was a lot of work. So I had to slow down, learn that. Now, between 99 and 2000, I now got a call. After about a year working with Lagbaja, I got a call from Yinka. Say, Lagbaja wants to go to Europe and he wants you to come. Come, let's talk. So I went to the meeting and they told me, well, they have this 2-week European tour and they don't want to take their guitarist. They needed somebody else. They would like me to work with them. The sad thing at the time, that particular gig didn't pay. I can't tell you how much it paid. It didn't pay at all. It was so sad. But one, traveling to Lagbaja, it was big at the time. What? So I had to go on the trip. Lagbaja then told me when we were there, his manager in America, because I mean, I loved what I did and I would always smile and people would remember, but I'm ready here. You know? So they now told me when we were, I think it was Spain or one of these countries, why don't you work with the band for a little bit? And I told him, I'm working on my album. Anytime I can go anywhere, I can leave and all that. I said, no problem. Whenever you want to go, just let me know. Don't just run off. Just let me know. I said, no problem. So between 2000 and 2002, I worked with Lagbaja. So we're going back and forth, different countries, European countries, African countries. I now got something to do with South Africa. I was buying some equipment for a friend, Gloria. She has a studio here. So Gloria now, paid my trip. I went to South Africa with my demo. I was still recording and was still checking what should I do with it. Then I went, long story short, Universal Music now got a hold of my demo. They now called me to a meeting. We love this. This is nice. This is African. This, And I said, why don't you come release it through us? So I got in. They now said, okay, that first one, because it was already done, they will release it as a, what do they call it? So the deal wasn't a signing deal. It was the other one where they just put it out and promote it. So I signed that deal with them. They now said, but we like you, come and sign an artist deal with us. That was when I now decided to move to South Africa in 2002. But I left Universal in maybe a year or two because they had this friend of mine, Jimmy Gudu, who was their major catch. So he felt like they were now shelving me on the side. They were not promoting me enough like they were. And I was on fire. I was hungry. I was everywhere. I would meet everybody and, this is what I do. I will play. I played in Cape Town one day and a guy called Richard, I can't remember his last name, he's a colored guy. He says, if I have half the energy that you have, man, I'll be a millionaire. And that thing just kind of encouraged me to say, there's fire there, there's something there. But I think more than anything else was just the love that I have for music. I'm telling all my stories. Yeah. So that was how South Africa became home for me, and I met a lot of great artists.